Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. I'm Paulo Enriquez from Generali Philippines, and I'll be your host for this webinar, The New Rules of Corporate Nutrition, Eating Well While Working Hard. Today's topic matters because how you eat affects your energy, concentration, and mood at work. Many Filipino workers rely on quick and conventional meals, and we want to help you build better habits that fit your daily routine, whether you work on-site, hybrid, or remote. We're doing this session in partnership with Dr. Anywhere, and we're glad to have with us our speaker, Dr. Almira Cunanan. Dr. Cunanan is a board-certified lifestyle medicine specialist, occupational health physician, and a registered physical therapist. She has extensive experience in hospital and health safety, lifestyle-related illness prevention, and telemedicine consultation. She currently serves as a telemedicine physician for Dr. Anywhere and My Pocket Doctor, and she has worked in both clinical and hospital operations for more than a decade. We're excited to learn from her practical, evidence-based insights on nutrition and workplace well-being. With that, let's begin. Doctor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. For this afternoon, in behalf of Dr. Anywhere, we will be having our discussion about a guide to a healthy diet. I am what I eat. So, I'm a lifestyle medicine specialist. I'm a certified primary care physician. I'm also the head of health and safety at Mandaluyong City Medical Center. I'm an occupational health and safety physician as well as a cadre in incident command system. So this will be a brief overview of what we will be discussing for the next few minutes. Okay, but before we proceed, you can get a piece of paper and a pen, and the subsequent slides, there will be questions that I will be flashing, and then just key in your scores. You can use your cell phones or a piece of paper and a pen, and then at the end of the questionnaire, you would be totaling up the scores that you will get, and there will be an interpretation. So I do hope that you will all participate because this will give you somehow a brief idea of where you currently stand health-wise, okay? So for the first question, your age group, so you just have to choose which bracket you belong to. So if you're under 35 years old, that's 0. If you're 35 to 44, that's 2 points, and so on. So you can, again, just key in the score or the point that you got in your cell phones or either a piece of paper and a pen. Okay, so for the first question, your age group. Okay. Now for the second question, your gender. So for the female in the audience here, you have 0. For the male, that's plus 3 points from the previous score that you got. So again, your gender, either male or female, kindly add up the point that you will get from this question from the previous one. Okay, for question number 3, your ethnicity or the country of birth. So assuming we're all Asians here, that's already automatically plus 2 points for us. Okay, so for the Asians, that's plus 2. Okay. Question number 4, have either of your parents or any of your brothers or sisters ever been diagnosed with diabetes mellitus? That means that they're taking medications, maintenance medications for diabetes. So if you answered no to this question, then that's 0. But if you answered yes, then that's plus 3 from the previous points that you got. Okay. Question number 5, have you ever been found to have high blood sugar? Like for example, during your annual physical exam, you were advised by your company doctor to go see an internist or a doctor to get clearance, or for those women who were diagnosed to have diabetes during pregnancy. Okay, so if you answered no, then that's 0, but if yes, then that's plus 6 points. Okay, so have you ever been found to have high blood sugar? Okay, for question number 6, are you currently taking medication for high blood pressure? So those telmisartans, those amlodipines you might be taking. So if you answered no, and then that's 0, but if you answered yes, that's plus 2. Okay, are you currently taking medication for high blood pressure? Okay, question number 7. Do you currently smoke cigarettes or any tobacco products? And this includes vapes. Okay, so if you do vape or smoking, for instance, on a daily basis, regardless if it's just 1 stick a day or 5 seconds of vaping a day, that's still yes, that's plus 2, but if not, then 0. Okay, question number 8. How often do you eat fruits and vegetables? How often do you eat fruits and vegetables? If you do every day, then that's 0. But if not, then that's +1. Okay, question number 9. On the average, would you say that you do at least 2.5 hours of physical activity per week, which can be divided into 30 minutes a day, at least 5 times a week? Okay, so if you say yes, then that's 0, but if not, then that's +2 points. Okay, so do you do a regular exercise, at least 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week? Okay, if yes, then 0, but if not, then that's +2. Now for question number 10, I wouldn't ask you to do anything. This would entail you to measure your waistline. Okay, suffice to know that if you have a bigger waistline, then that means more points for you. Okay, so I'm assuming you don't have any tape measure with you right now. That's okay. Just don't add anything to your scores. Kindly total up the scores that you got from the previous 9 questions, because for the next slide, I'll be giving you the interpretation. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to add up your scores. Okay, so I hope you're all done, because here is a verdict. Okay, so the question that I've previously shown you is actually a tool that we use in the clinic. So we use it for patients whom we have seen for the first time. We don't really know any of your background yet, but it's a quick gauge for us to know where you stand or your risk of developing type 2 diabetes within the next 5 years. So what does it mean? It means that if you scored 5 or less, then you're at low risk. Give yourselves a pat on the back, because that means if you're low risk, that's approximately 1 in every 100 will develop it within 5 years. Okay. But if you scored 6 to 11, okay, that would mean that either 1 in every 50 or 1 in every 30, depending on where you are on that bracket, your likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes, and it's within the next 5 years. Okay. More alarmingly, if you scored 12 or more, that means you're at high risk. Okay. That means that either 1 in every 14 or 1 in every 7, or if you scored 20 or higher, that's 1 in every 3. Your likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes within the next 5 years. So what's the implication? My recommendation would be if you scored 6 above, see your doctor, get screened. Okay? So I hope this screening tool did not really make you feel blue or make you feel down. I just really wanted you to know your current health status, because I think that would give you, the extra motivation to listen to the lecture for today. Okay. Do you know that 4 out of 10 Filipinos are obese? And what's more alarming is the fact that majority of the percentage of the obese people come from the 20 to 59-year-old age bracket. Basically, that's us, the workforce of the Philippines. Okay, so that's 38.6%. When we talk about being healthy, it may mean different things for different people. So for some, it may mean fitting into a small size t-shirt, or for some, just feeling good about themselves, or for others, it may mean being able to do the tasks that they want to do without being impeded by either shortness of breath or lack of energy. We really have different definitions when we talk about being healthy. Recently, there was a show in Netflix. The title is Live to 100. They basically discuss about the blue zones in the world. The blue zones are places in the world wherein there are concentration of centenarians. Okay, so the people in these 5 particular areas, they found out that there are a lot of people there who are able to live up to 100 or more. And of course, this spiked up their curiosity. Why in these 5 particular places? What's common? Or is there really anything common about these 5 places? So they conducted studies about it. And they did. They did find out that for these 5 particular places, first, since they're a bit secluded, they were able to preserve the genetic component. Okay, so hereditary factors are actually a key into having a long life. Which means if you have your lolos or lolas, we hear them in the news. They've been giving award money to these people who are able to live up to 100. So if you have relatives who were able to live up to 100 or more, then that's plus one for you. That means you already have this plus factor into having a long life. But of course, along with the genetic component, there are other things. Okay. Second, the food that these people eat are the ones that they actually plant and harvest, where the concept of farm to table came from. Okay. So basically, their diet consists of vegetables, plants. The third, they don't really have vices. Okay. No alcohol, no smoking. And since they are basically family, it means less stress for them. They have close family ties. So these are the factors that make them the blue zones in the world. And these are the same factors making up the pillars of lifestyle medicine. So we will be discussing about whole food, plant-based diet. You have your regular physical activity, having adequate sleep, management of stress, and avoiding risky substances. But we would be focusing on diet, nutrition, because it comprises 60% of our health. When we talk about diet, it may mean different things again for different people. So when you see diet, that may mean, oh, I'm on a diet. I am restricted to a particular type of food. Like for instance, those doing keto diet, they only eat meat. Okay? Or for those vegan, they only eat vegetables. But basically, when you say diet, it's the sum of the food that you consume. Ever since we were kids, we were already taught what is a healthy diet. We would probably say in chorus, oh, you eat a rainbow every day, eat a variety of fruit and vegetables every day. Okay, this is common knowledge. Okay? But what are really the fundamentals? So yes, consume a variety of foods in order to get all the nutrients and the vitamins that you need naturally. Second, fill your plate with fruits and vegetables, at least half of it. Okay? You focus on whole grains, of course, drink plenty of water, and as much as possible, if you can eliminate red meat, poultry, and eggs. Okay? Limit highly processed and packaged foods. This became trickier nowadays. Why? Because a lot of the food that we eat right now are those that are fast food. Okay? They're very easy to access, but lo and behold, there are a lot of chemicals added to it, making it unhealthy. And lastly, do not rely on supplements as a substitute for real food. A lot of patients would come to my clinic and ask me, Doc, what's a good brand of vitamins? And unfortunately, for lifestyle medicine specialists, we do not really prescribe vitamins right away. Okay, because we believe that whatever vitamins and minerals that you need, you can get it from all the food sources. That's why we advise you to eat a variety of food. Okay. So DOH wanted to guide us into partitioning the plates in our food. So they have come up with this is a visual assistance for us. But basically for adults, they just wanted you to partition your plate as this. Half of it should be fruits and vegetables. That's the glow food. 1/4 is for the go food. That's for your grains. And 1/4 is for the grow or your protein sources. Okay. So as you can see here, for us Filipinos, they somehow misinterpret this. Okay. They think that this is just one plate and that they will have another plate full of go food. No, this does not mean that one plate and another 1/4 of rice. Because for us Filipinos, rice is life, right? So no, okay, again, it's just 1/4 of your plate allotted for your grains or your starches. Okay? For us in lifestyle medicine, we did some tweaking just a bit. So as you can see here, yes, we still do agree that half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. Again, 1/4 for the grains and your starches. And as you can see here, the only modification that we did was we advocate for a plant-based protein source. And this is not easy. Okay? Again, because for us Filipinos, it's not just rice is life. We are very carnivorous. We like lechon, we like sisig. So having a plant-based diet is a bit difficult. So when I advise this to my patient, I get a lot of raised eyebrows and rolling of eyeballs. So again, it's really difficult, but with proper counseling, this is doable. So we have your six essential nutrients. Just briefly, we will be discussing them. You have your macronutrients, meaning those food that we eat that have big molecules. You have your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fat, and your water, and your micronutrients, which are your vitamins and minerals. Okay? Carbohydrates is something that a lot of people are so scared of. Okay? Not knowing that the carbohydrates are actually the source of fuel for our nervous system. So for those people here who are trying to do a low carb diet and are just a newbie, okay, they would experience lightheadedness, dizziness, headache, okay, during their first few days. That's because your fuel for your brain gets depleted and your body is still not used to it. Okay? But as you get accustomed to it and your body gets adjusted, it gets better. Okay? So again, don't be afraid of carbohydrates. It's just that you have to choose the right type of carbohydrates for you. Okay? Carbohydrates can be stored in terms of glycogen. We have glycogen in our fats. That's why when you burn up your fats, you have extra carbohydrate sources. Okay, so for the protein, it should only be 15% of your total calorie intake for a day. Okay, the protein is also important because it would be in charge of repairing and your growth of the muscles. Okay, but as you can see here in the picture, Doc, is this a joke? You're talking about protein and then your picture is a plant. Okay, because, as I've said previously, we prefer the plant-based source of protein. Why? Okay, I'll make it a bit simple. So imagine you have your fat or your oil, for instance, and you have it in a plate and you leave it at room temperature. Okay. So for the animal type of protein, it's high in saturated fat. Okay. So when you talk about saturated fat, imagine the oil left at room temperature, it will become solid. Okay. Meaning, if you consume food with saturated fat, at room temperature and it's solid, it can cause clogging up of your arteries and your blood vessels, basically. Okay? But if you consume plant-based protein, okay, it doesn't have saturated fat. It has unsaturated fat, actually. So with unsaturated fat, even at room temperature, it remains liquid. Okay? So that's why when you consume it, even at room temperature, it's still liquid. So it will not cause clogging of your arteries and blood vessels. So basically, that's a easier way to understand it. That's the reason why we prefer plant-based type of protein. Broccoli is very high in protein. It's even higher in protein content as compared to your beef. Yes, that's really surprising, but it's true. Soybeans are also very rich in protein. So you can use them and substitute your usual food with soybeans. Fat. This is also something that a lot of people are so scared about. Okay? Like carbohydrates. But you have to know, if you have zero fat in your body, you will not be able to absorb very essential nutrients. Specifically, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Okay? So in order for you to absorb these vitamins, you need fats. Okay? Vitamin A for vision, for your eyes. Vitamin D for calcium absorption. Vitamin E are antioxidant and for your skin as well, collagen production. And vitamin K for clotting. Okay? So you don't really need to be afraid of fats. You just have to choose the right type of fat. And of course, the proper or appropriate quantity. For water, you have to take in 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, and it depends. During the summer, it can get really, really hot, and your 8 to 10 glasses of water may not be sufficient. You may have to take more. So just to review, okay, for vitamin A rich food, these are your food choices. Okay, so again, you don't really have to take in supplements. Just add some of these into your diet and you're already good to go. So you have your mangoes, your leafy vegetables. Basically, the orange vegetables, they're very rich in vitamin A. Vitamin D rich food, again, for calcium absorption in your body. You are not going to eat the flower here, ha? I'm not pertaining to the flower in the first picture. It's the sun. Okay, we are very lucky to be in a country where there's unlimited supply of sun. Right? It's just that you have to time your exposure. So you can go out of the sun, go out into the sun at roughly around 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. But beyond that, it may be detrimental for you. Okay? You have your soybeans and you have your mushrooms. For people who live in places with winter, they actually have to take in vitamin D supplementation. Okay? Because they don't get exposed to the sun. Okay? Vitamin C is very good for healing, to boost your immune system. And of course, we know that the citrus type of fruits, very high in vitamin C. Your green leafy vegetables are also very high in vitamin C. Okay? A lot of patients would come to me and tell me, Doc, I have pins and needles in my fingers. I feel electric-like sensation in my feet. I want vitamin B complex. What brand would you prescribe me? There are a lot of vitamin B sources around you. Okay, so I'll be flashing you some of the examples. So you have here your vitamin B1, you have your grains, you have your nuts. For vitamin B3, you have again your nuts, grains, and avocado. They're very high in vitamin B. You have your folate. You have your corn, your green leafy vegetables. Okay. If you have deficient micronutrients, what will happen to you? If you have deficient vitamin A, you can actually go blind. Okay? If you have vitamin D deficiency, you can see here in the picture, there's bow legging. Okay? That's because there's insufficient absorption of calcium, making your bones a bit malleable or brittle. Okay? That's why your lower extremities or your legs cannot support your body weight. That's why it's bowing out. Okay? For vitamin C deficiency, you have scurvy. As you can see here, the teeth of this girl, okay, they can actually pull their teeth out. Why? Because with vitamin C deficiency, your collagen quality is very poor. Okay? For vitamin B9, you can have birth defects. Okay? So for those women out here who are planning to get pregnant, I suggest you start taking your folic acid. Okay? Again, do not just start taking folic acid when you found out that you're pregnant. Okay? Because your folic acid stores may not be sufficient enough to avoid this kinds of birth defects. So again, in order to avoid this kind of birth defects, you have to store up more. Okay, so if you're in your childbearing years and you're planning to get pregnant, not pregnant yet, okay, you have to take in your folic acid supplement to avoid this kind of birth defects. Again, you have your calcium deficiency, which can lead to osteoporosis. Osteoporosis meaning your bones are very brittle and they can break easily. Okay, and for the folic acid or the iron deficiency, you can have anemia. One trick that a lot of people do in order to lessen their caloric intake is do food consumption timing. Usually, the goal of decreasing your intake of calorie is to lose weight. Okay? So what they do is they either have 2 meals per day and then they substitute one of the main meal into a snack. So instead of eating dinner, they just eat like a piece of banana or a slice of an apple. Or something that's very famous nowadays, they do intermittent fasting. That's also a good way of decreasing your caloric intake. But a recommendation to all of you who are thinking about starting intermittent fasting, just don't overdo it. Okay, so there are patients who, during their first day of trying intermittent fasting, want to do a 24-hour fast right away. That's not physiologic, and it may actually be dangerous for you. So if you're just starting out, you can probably start at fasting for 6 hours or 8 hours a day, and then try to do that for a week first. Let your body get accustomed to it first. Okay. And then perhaps after a week, you feel that, oh, it's very easy for me now. Okay. Probably you've already adjusted to it. That's the time that you extend it. You can perhaps extend it to either 8 hours to 12 hours a day. You do it gradually. Okay. During fasting period, some people just take in water or black coffee. But for some, they take juice as a form of antioxidant. And again, the length may vary. We also have different dietary patterns. But what I want you to focus on is the whole food plant-based diet. Whole food. What's the concept, or what does whole food mean? It simply means, imagine this. You buy an apple from the grocery, and then once you bought it, you bring it home, you slice it, then you eat it. It's whole food. You did not do anything to it, you just slice it. Okay? There's no preservatives added to it, no processing done, whole food. There are three levels of food processing. We can accept up to level 2 of food processing. So what are these? So the apple, the example I just gave you earlier, that's level 1. Again, you slice, you cut, you smash, you don't do anything to it, you eat it that way, that's level 1, and that's very good. Okay, for level 2, that's what we do in our kitchen. Okay, so we slice them, then we combine them, we cook them, we put some seasonings in them. That's okay because still we know the ingredients that we added to the food that we're eating. Okay, but what we do not want is the level 3 or the ultra processed type. Wherein the food is created in a plant. Okay, a lot of chemicals have been added to it. Like for instance, cornflakes. They claim it's made out of corn, but it doesn't look like corn. It doesn't taste like corn. Right? This is just a quick guide. Okay, because some of you here may be doing the grocery shopping in your family, and I wanted to show you the better options. Okay, because sometimes we think that, oh, that's okay because frosted flakes, they are cereal, they're healthy, but lo and behold, they're highly processed. So this is just really a quick guide. So again, for the first table, that's the whole or minimally processed. And then for the second table, that's the moderately processed. And the last is the one that we should avoid. They're highly processed. So for the corn, you have your corn on or off the cob. Then again, for the second table, either you mix it with water or other ingredients and you make something out of it. That's okay. But what we do not want are the frosted flakes or the tortilla chips that we serve even to children, right? Because it's very convenient. Like for instance, the kids, they need to go to school. Well, this is very easy. You just pour it in a bowl. Okay, not realizing that we are already serving them with highly processed and unhealthy food. For the potatoes, of course, we can boil it. We can put some seasonings on it. That's okay. But unfortunately, when we watch Netflix, it's very good to partner with potato chips, right? Okay, so don't. And the smiley fries, it's very enticing to put them in the lunch boxes of our kids because it's cute. Okay, but again, unhealthy. You have your wheat, and we have this thinking that if it's made out of wheat, it's healthy. What makes it unhealthy? Okay, because there are a lot of breakfast cereals wherein yes, it probably has wheat, but it also has a lot of salt, sugar, and oil, making it unhealthy. Okay, same thing with the crackers. Rice. Now, the brown rice is very good because the brown part or the hull is where the vitamins, the minerals, and the fiber are. Okay, so that's why this is the minimally processed and the preferred type of rice. But again, the white rice is okay. It's just that for the white rice, you already removed the brown covering, which is where the fibers, the vitamins, and the minerals are. But still, it's moderately processed, though, so it's still acceptable. Avoid fried rice. Okay, you have your snacks wrapped in packages. They are unhealthy. For the Quaker oats, this is very famous because a lot of people who want to lose weight, they substitute one of the meal with Quaker oats. Because again, oats are healthy, right? They're rich in fiber. Okay, then you'll feel full quickly. But they have come up with products that, yes, may contain oats, but again, with added oil and very high quantities of sugar, such as your flavored oatmeal. Okay. Or I have seen athletes who are actually taking in granola bars without realizing that these are actually highly processed type of food. So again, avoid them. I want to introduce to you the concept of AGE product, okay, because I believe we are familiar with this. We just really don't know exactly what it is. Now, when you talk about AGE product, it means that these products are causing damages to our cells. Okay? And how do these products increase, or how are these products produced? Okay. So when you eat processed food, they are very high in AGE products. Same thing when when you take in animal products, they're also very high in AGE products. And lastly, when you prepare food in dry heat, meaning how we prepare our food also influences the increase of AGE products in the food that we consume. Dry heat, meaning when you fry your food, when you grill your food, broil, roast, and sear. And this was a new concept for me when I started out my lifestyle medicine journey. I was surprised because even when I was in college, I would eat roasted chicken thinking that, oh, it's healthy because basically you just put the chicken in the fire and you did not really put something else into it. No oil, no nothing. You just put some seasonings, right? But apparently, this has an increased AGE product for me. So yes, you may ask, what does it mean? Do I have to eat my food raw? Okay, not necessarily. This only teaches us that do not prepare your food in dry heat. Instead, you use moist heat. So for instance, you'll be serving your family with, Doc, I really have no choice. I will cook pork. That's the only thing I have in my refrigerator right now. Okay. Instead of frying it or grilling it or roasting it or searing it, you cook it in soup. Okay. Either you steam it or you boil it. That's moist heat. So instead of serving fried pork chop, you serve sinigang. Okay. That would somehow lessen the AGE product. Okay. Remember, people would tell you, oh, if you eat barbecue, that would make you have cancer. Okay? And this AGE product is actually what's behind that. Okay? So because when you grill your food, there's increased AGE product and damages your cells. Okay? Now we go to the concept of calorie density. As you can see here in the picture, you have a Snicker bar and then you have a banana, basically the same size, basically the same weight. But you know that when you eat a Snicker bar, you basically have consumed at least probably half of your caloric intake for the day. As compared to when you eat a banana, that's just roughly less than 100 of calories. Okay? To make it easier for you to understand, all this picture here, they are 500 calories, and see how it fills you up. When you eat 500 calories of fruits and vegetables, you're already so full, you cannot probably eat more. Okay? Same thing with your potatoes, rice, and beans. You're so full again, you won't be needing to eat more. But here, when you eat your meat, your cheese, your oil, basically the ingredients of your samgyupsal. Okay? And we love them. And we eat a lot. Because again, with 500 calories of meat, cheese, and oil, it's barely there. And you would feel the need to eat more. Okay? So that being said, we prefer the food that have a low calorie density, such as your fruits and vegetables, your potatoes, rice, and beans, instead of your meat, your cheese, and your oil. Okay? Now, just quickly, I'll be teaching you how to read a food label because I believe that this is very important. Okay. When I first started out learning this, I do the grocery shopping at home. When I didn't know this, my grocery shopping would probably take me around 1 hour to 1 hour and a half to buy food for a week for 4 people. When I started doing this, my grocery time doubled. Yes, it was a bit frustrating, but I really wanted to do this because, again, without the need or the desire to change, then nothing will change, right? I wanted to serve my family with something healthier, and I believe that this is one way to do it. So even if it took me a longer time, it's okay. Because eventually, when I got the hang of it, okay, my grocery time went back to 1 to 1.5 hours. It became easy peasy for me again. Okay. Because you just really have to look into 4 things. First, of course, the first thing you need to know is the amount of calorie per serving. So for this label, it's 270 calories. That's per serving. Now, the first thing that you should do is look at the fat content. Okay. The fat should be less than 20% of the calories per serving. Okay, so I'm a doctor, okay, I'm not an engineer. I really hate math. So that's the reason why my grocery time doubled. Okay, because I'm not good in math. It's either I use my calculator or I cannot do it mentally. Okay? So again, less than 20%. So for this label, it should be less than 20% of 270. So what I do initially was I divide 270 divided by 5. And then the answer, oh, it's okay. Pasok. Okay? And then for the trans fat, it's easy. It should be 0. Okay? Same thing with your cholesterol. It should be 0. Right? Then lastly, the sodium, this is also easy because it just needs to be less than the amount of calories per serving in your food. So these are just the 4 things that you need to look into. So major the tricky part is just the total fat. Okay? So again, you look at the total fat, less than 20% of your total calorie intake. Your trans fat should be 0, cholesterol should be 0, and the sodium should be less than the number of calories per serving. Okay, so I hope that you will keep this in mind because this would be useful. Again, for those of you who do the grocery shopping, this is a quick tool. Well, maybe not that quick at first, but once you get the hang of it, this is really helpful. Okay, so for this afternoon, we discussed about the different aspects of nutrition, what to eat, what not to eat, how to lessen your caloric intake, and other concepts that I hope will be useful for you in choosing the right amount, and the right type of food for you. So as a parting message, I just give you this. There's just one simple rule. If it came from a plant, you can eat it. But if it is made in a plant, don't. So thank you. We don't live to eat. We eat to live. Good afternoon, everyone. So I hope that you were able to pick up information that will be useful, not just for you, but information that you can actually share to your friends and your family in order to become healthier together. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Cunanan, for the helpful insights, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. If you want to continue taking charge of your health, you can talk to Doctor anytime through Generali's Call a Doc service powered by Doctor Anywhere. It gives you quick access to licensed physicians for medical advice, prescriptions, and follow-up consultations for all from your phone. You can learn more about Call a Doc and our upcoming webinar topics on our website at www.generali.com.ph. We appreciate your time today. Have a good afternoon and stay well.